Hail and well, Matt. Welcome to the pre-game show. Once again, we have Stefan with us.
Hello.
So, Sir Adrian Corvetto is once again going to show up in the game.
Maybe I'll actually get a few actions this time.
Look, you're only down for one round, man.
Oh, burn.
Hey, how's it going, Mizma?
Yes, I can see.
Adrian, you have a very big fan in chat. Zeldarine just loves it whenever you're playing Shiny.
Shiny is what it says. Wonderful.
How do you feel about that nickname? Because you did not come in with that. We foisted it on you, I think.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely you did. I remember. Adrian is not a fan, but he also is not the kind of person to like correct others. He very much holds to the like Marcus Aurelius style, like rather than correcting a person, do something the right way, and hopefully they emulate you. Refers to himself as Adrian, and introduces himself as Adrian just kind of hopes eventually people will pick that up.
So just a lot of okay.
Yeah, a lot of like, okay, I think we'll try again. You guys are doing your best.
Yeah. Some silent suffering, long silent suffering.
Exactly.
I remember when that happened, I was like, oh man, because we have Stong and Sturge and Cecilia, and now we have Shiny.
Yeah.
Definitely stuck to the S names. But
Maybe that's why it was inevitable that Rogar and Ruin ended up together. Right.
yep, they just
That's right.
letter sounds were all alliterative.
So tell me a bit about
Sarshan. Yeah.
Say what? What'd you say?
Tell me a bit about Rogar. I don't know much about the character.
I don't know, folks. Tell them about Rogar.
Rogar is a dwarf. He is a life cleric. He is the perfect height. He is really into other dwarves. He has a boyfriend named Ruan, who is the half-brother.
He stole Roomba.
Do you know who Roomba is?
I do not know who
okay.
Roomba might have been after me.
Yeah, probably Roomba was after you.
Yes, because we almost died, and you weren't there for that part.
We fought a gelatinous cube in the sewers, and most of us almost died in Artemisia specifically.
It was shameful.
and there were bits of it splattered, and so one of the bits made its way into Briarhouse basement, and so
I think it was in your
Artemisia.
pocket.
Yeah.
I think you brought Roomba home in your pocket.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah,
she definitely
fell into the folds of your dress or whatever.
I think unintentionally too.
Yeah.
Yeah, she lightninged Roomba when she noticed it for the first time, and that just split it small. So the tiny little Roomba that was left, she actually decided that she likes cleanliness, and a tiny little Roomba locked in the basement leaves the basement very clean.
Oh yeah, it's just like a one of those like snails that you put in a fish tank that just
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Okay.
and then
Perfect.
Rogar moved into the basement,
Now we're
and
friendsies.
sort of got used to Roomba just crawling on him.
Roomba keeps my plate mail clean, cleans all the sweat and hair and other things out from the inside of my plate mail. Roomba's great. Roomba listens to Rogar a lot. Well, so Rogar has this unfortunate habit of somehow co-opting other people's pets. It was not intentional. I didn't do it maliciously.
She didn't write it down on your character sheet, but she did at the beginning. Quirks takes pets.
I'm very sorry. So Ruan initially showed up at the start of season 1 as a mysterious silver wolf who just followed Cecilia from the Feywild or wherever she had been, and then that's right, and then kind of just started to hang out at the foot of my bed listening to me because I needed a sympathetic ear. And then it turned out to be her brother or her half-brother, an elven druid named Ruan, who, but then sort of me and Ruan kind of bonded. Rogar and Ruan kind of bonded. And so he was intended as a character for Cecilia, but Rogar has kind of stolen a little bit of his time. Or he's stolen his heart. So I feel really bad. And then Roomba just kind of ended up hanging out with Rogar a lot. So
you just collect other people's people.
Yeah. which is ironic, in some ways. So Rogar's whole thing is he started off as kind of this quixote, like a total Don Quixote character. He literally had a gnome sidekick named Sancho Panzai.
Excellent.
And
Inside real quick.
rather than tilting at giants, he was tilting at these things called bogglewomps that are they real or not? Kind of a question. And they were these dark, shadowy manifestations. And Rogar has a lot of like damage from having been raised in the church, taught that sort of his kind of love is wrong and corrupt and not good, kind of a thing. Because the Rift Dwarves, the whole backstory, the Rift Dwarves in 5e, like there was the Spell Plague and the Second Sundering. And in my mind, like if you have the entire world being twisted and transformed and things, entire sections of the Underdark disappearing, I mean, there were a lot of dwarves living there. So like in my mind, like about 9/10 of the dwarven Rift Dwarven race was wiped out in those events. And so they're really hurting right now. And, they're very slow to procreate anyway. So there was this real cultural shift towards productivity over creativity or that kind of a thing.
Oh my goodness. Thank you, Lethaka.
And
Really
then,
appreciate all those gift subs.
Oh, yeah.
gift subs.
Sweet.
And then also though, like a cultural shift in the religions towards, procreation and stuff. Like we need to literally like save our race and have lots of as many dwarven babies as possible. So that led to a more kind of a conservative spin on things. And anyway, that's all the backstory. So Rogar's kind of had to overcome a lot of that stuff over this past season.
Is he kind of fighting against all of that like new dwarf conservatism?
So that's his arc. Yeah, that's his ultimate. That's where we're kind of at this point, is he's shifting into realizing that's his life goal. In fact, we'll probably kind of move a little that direction this episode. But yeah, So yeah, that's his goal. He found love in Ruan, learned to accept that it's not, wrong and evil and all that, and then and then he's he's moving towards becoming the founder of the Reformed Church of Sharindlar. But
Excellent, cool. I don't know what that means, but it's
excellent. Yeah, Sharindlar is the Dwarven goddess of life and love.
Okay, cool.
And at some point, Cecilia will have Cyril as a familiar. Cyril's the cat.
Yes, Cyril's a
Ginger
cat.
catty.
And Rogar has not attempted to steal Cyril yet, so that's good.
Well, Artemisia inadvertently stole Cyril. Cyril tried to familiar bond with Cecilia, only it didn't work and he missed.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if he's still familiar bonded with Artemisia, but anyway, I feel like I've subscribed to Stitch Fix because I'm like, okay, Artemisia is gonna try to get a new familiar to replace Cyril, so then that'll free Cyril, right? So I'm all like, okay, DM, I kind of want this kind of familiar, but I'm not going to say like exactly which one, but like this is my ideal familiar. So whatever familiar comes to her should be kind of like this. And I don't know if so.
Well, we'll
whatever
see.
he likes. Well, that's sort of what I expected. But like if she was picking familiars out of a catalog, what she would pick.
I do.
Because life works that way, obviously.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean, is
Actually,
it
I
possible to have like a hot elf or a hot dragon as your familiar? Just like,
You could be very familiar with a hot elf or hot dragon.
oh, there you go.
And clearly Artemisia would like that to happen.
Well, at some point, like, it's not anything I'm working on right now, but at some point, like, Artemisia does need to learn the value of platonic affection.
Mhm.
So, like, a familiar that is simply, like, adorable as opposed to hot is a step in the right direction for her.
Yep.
I'm just looking at my character sheet now, trying to burn it all into my brain.
I'm sure. I mean, no. You have you don't. Does Artemisia not have platonic affection towards Stong and Rogar and Sturge? Well, I don't know about Sturge, but Stong. No, I'm just
But
kidding.
she wouldn't hug you. She
Huh?
wouldn't hug. She wouldn't hug you. She wouldn't
That's
hug
true.
anybody but Cecilia. So, eventually, hopefully, she will get to the place where she can like actually hug people. I don't know if she'd even hug Ruan. She might be weird about that.
Good point.
Ooh, there's nothing like that feeling of like going in for a hug and then having somebody just like turn their shoulder and just like bump you out.
You're the jerk.
Yeah. Ooh, we're not that close, I guess.
Well, where I always seem to end up is like I'm surprised but willing, but then the other person has taken my surprise for like dislike. So they're like, and I'm like, oh, whoa, what's going on? And they're like, oh, I'm going away now. And I'm like, no, come back. I'm sorry. I just didn't expect this.
One of the many problems we don't currently have in COVID times.
Wow.
Yeah.
But
God, I'm
Yeah.
so excited to be in people's space and hug them again. Man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've told a bunch of my friends that like we're just gonna have these get-togethers. We're just gonna start with a 20-minute hug while we just like tell each other about what our life has been up to.
I was talking to my wife about that a couple months ago. Like within 6 feet is like the best range to be from a person, and I'm so excited to get back to just being close to people in the world.
with consent, of course.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's funny if we have a session of this game, which is like all us hugging each other, like 2.5 hours. Because
I mean-
you know, like the vaccine, we all get vaccinated, and we're like, all right. And then
I
we
saw
just
the-
film ourselves just hanging out in a room chatting.
I saw the live tweeting of the Flash going by on Twitter last night. I've stopped watching that series a couple seasons back, but not for any bad reason, just lost the thread. But anyway, but it was live
So
tweeting.
did the
and
show. Bam. Okay.
Bam.
People,
Hey, okay.
You hear that,
Yeah.
The Flash?
that's right. People
Called
were
you out, the Flash.
people were like, there was a whole bunch of people just like super excited about the fact that Iris touched Flash's knee. They're like, oh, physical contact. Oh, it was like physical contact porn. It was like, oh, human contact. How I missed that. Like just her touching his knee was enough to just set off a Twitter storm.
I mean,
Well.
movies in the last year, just watching people like gather in movies makes me go, ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it is weird, right? Yeah, it's
My wife
discordant.
gets very nervous when she sees like a lot of people in close proximity on TV. She's just like, no.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to definitely take some psychological healing and adjustment.
Delicious Bradley. Oh, now the shirt's off screen, but I hadn't seen that it was a
What that
Delicious
is.
Bradley shirt today.
What? My
Delicious
Delicious
Bradley.
Bradley shirt. I love Delicious Bradley.
Oh, I don't know what that
You guys
is.
see this? Okay, help me out. What's the cartoonist's name? It's Adam something. Adam Ellis? So this is a cartoonist, and he did like a predictive text thing to make up Sanrio characters. He's basically like fed
Oh,
all the
nice.
Sanrio character descriptions in. And Delicious Bradley is the cutest one. He is a mushroom who wears a yellow scarf and collects buttons. He lives in an enchanted forest. His birthday is
That's
often.
Nice.
So there's just like a bunch of them that are. I don't know. It was really cute. He got the description and then he drew a picture. And he's done like some comic strips of Delicious Bradley and his friend the Grumpy Garlic that are just they're funny. But yeah, when I saw he had a shirt of it, I was like, I love that shirt.
Gimme.
I'm gonna look and see what his name is so I can do it right. I was gonna say I got my second shot yesterday and I don't want anybody to touch me at all because my skin hurts, but it's better than COVID.
I feel like that's reasonable.
Did you get the?
That's just the first stage of the mutant gene kicking in. You're going to get like,
That'll be amazing.
adamantine skin or
Chat asks if it's
fire
Adam
skin.
Ellis.
I think Adam Ellis, yeah, who is hilarious. I love his comics.
So did I interrupt you, Stephen? Were you going to say something? Stephanie?
Oh, I was just asking. I was just wondering what shot she got, the Moderna or the
Moderna.
Pfizer, the double part.
Yeah, the first one, like my arm hurt, like somebody punched me in the middle of a workout.
Hmm.
And then 2 days later, I was suddenly very tired. So my children watched a lot of TV that day. And this one, like 4 hours after, all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, what's happening to my bicep? And then in the middle of the night, I had like a fever that was really unpleasant. And today I woke up and I was like, I feel like I have the flu. It's the worst. But now I feel mostly okay, except for that like yucky scraped skin feeling.
Yeah.
And I don't have COVID, so aces.
Yeah.
That's the other thing I keep thinking
That-
is like, if this is what my body does with a little inactivated virus, I'm so glad I never caught it because I don't think it would have gone well.
Whenever anybody talks about like side effects and somebody's like, oh, which one? I'm like, la 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 la, because I want to go and be like, oh, I got the other one. Oh, and like both of you got different ones. You had side effects. No, I got the other one. That's not J&J because that's paused, and which is good because I'm a woman of the right age. But
It was like, there'll probably be something. It will be worth it. Yeah, my husband was like, his back hurt and his arm itched. And there was yesterday morning, he just really had a hard time getting out of bed, but he didn't have the tossing around fever and stuff. But yeah, one day of suck. Much better than getting sick or passing it on to somebody or something like that. I highly recommend, even though I will not tell you it doesn't suck.
oh, people are
So-
starting bingos. Yay! I love when we're doing bingos.
This might affect bingos, but the
What?
bourbon of the month is
Yeah.
called Spirits of the Apocalypse. It's literally the Walking Dead bourbon. It says, an apocalypse has swept the globe, causing the dead to rise and feed on the living. In a matter of months, society has crumbled. There is no government, no grocery store, no mall, no, or it might say mail. I don't know. It's really, really small text. No delivery, no cable TV. Luckily, luckily there are spirits. So
Oh, nice.
Dystopian bourbon.
there was something about the dead coming back to go after this liquor. I don't know. Anyway, but I thought it was funny, so I got this one.
We'll be right back.
No Ulta, no Forever 21, no mall. Ah! What are we gonna do?
I was watching. There's I think it might have been Tudor Monastery Farm. They are archaeologists and
You can't
historians
just
who go back and
say
do stuff.
Tudor Monastery Farm without further explaining. 'Cause
Agree.
that sounds great.
100% agree.
It is a great series. So there's one historian, Ruth Goodman, and then two, I'm forgetting their names, and sometimes one of them changes. Two archaeologists, experimental archaeologists, and they do different time periods. And most of them, they're running a farm. So there's Victorian farm, Edwardian farm, Tudor Monastery farm, Tales of the Green Valley, I think is Stuart period. So it's all in Britain. And it some people who've seen the PBS series where they like force them to have only the tools they would have and blah blah blah. People end up miserable and like it's kind of a lot of drama and angst. These aren't like that at all. They know what they're doing, and so they go and they do it competently. So it's like watching historical people being extremely competent. It's great. Anyway, they went to an expert who had a still, and we're talking about making spirits at that time. So I think it was the Tudor Monastery Farm. And so he's explaining the still and how it works and the fire and the evaporation and whatever. And then he's like, okay, the first part that comes off is the methanol. And that's what makes you go blind. And the guy watching is like, oh, okay, how do you tell like when that's done and the good stuff is coming out? And the expert's like, well, you guess.
Okay.
Feed it to your enemies.
and I was like, you know, I know all about like bathtub gin and going blind and all that, but like until this point, I really didn't have the sort of like visceral feeling of why like I only want to drink professionally produced liquor.
Hey, you urchin child, try this. Oh, he went blind. Good thing there are no laws. Boy.
How
Obviously,
else
there
does
were
that set
laws.
in? Like if
I
you
think
drink
it's
methanol, like I do not. I'm unfamiliar with methanol poisoning. How long do you have to wait to see if the urchin child goes blind?
Probably not too long.
Just
I
have
don't,
don't
I don't think
know.
it's too long.
I
mean,
I'm
admittedly,
kinda
they
don't know
happy
the
that none of
mechanism
us
for
knew
the
that
blindness
answer
either.
offhand.
Let me ask the green
No one's
fairy.
researched this at some point. No one's tried a story. They're like, ah, crap.
Time
I
to
have
blood
to
some children.
figure out how to distill liquor safely.
methanol blindness. All right.
Yeah, good thing we have Google.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
my
we all-
grandma brewed her own beer and root beer and made her own wine. Like they had like a a nursery, but one of the many like little greenhouses was entirely dedicated to producing alcoholic beverages.
Do
out in the
you
back there.
do you
Used
ever
to
remember having some temporary blindness as a child, as being a
I-
child? maybe?
I don't know,
Okay.
no, but
It looks like it is never temporary, so that's exciting.
Whoa!
That is exciting. I mean,
Well, myth
not,
busted.
not in a like yay sort of way, but like
right.
Always
intellectually
Exterminate.
exciting.
What makes it happen? Does it say?
It's interesting. It doesn't actually do anything to the eyes. It just like ruins your central nervous system and
Whoa!
causes irreversible blindness that way.
Whoa!
How are not a lot more people in the Forgotten Realms, blinded?
Well, I was just thinking, like, yeah,
maybe
Force
a lot of
Elixir.
them
They
are.
most raging.
Bad
Maybe they
Force
are.
Elixir.
I
Also,
was gonna say this doesn't happen for like brewing beer and stuff because
They don't
because
brew
it's
it
not
at
being
that.
distilled.
Yeah,
And I
Mm.
don't. I actually
totally
don't know.
different process.
I don't know. We used to brew beer, and this was never ever a concern. And I would have absolutely been very concerned about it. We have not done. We tried it once after we had my elder son with like a parents group. We're like, okay, we're hosting. Guess what? We're brewing beer, and we are also distracted that we completely forgot to add them. So when you make beer, you have to boil it first, and then you add. You have. We always did like I forget what it's called, like an infusion. You take cracked grains and put them in like a big tea bag, and then otherwise you have a malt syrup. And you can do a thing called sparging where you put the grain in and you spray water over it and you kind of create that malt syrup, but it involves a lot more equipment. And we never actually got to the point where we were like, yes, that seems like a great investment. But we were doing it and we just completely forgot to add the malt syrup because we were so busy chasing children around. So we tried to add it at the end and it was terrible. It was really the worst thing I've ever made. We made Doug mentioned making mead. We made a mead for our wedding, actually, a melomel, a fruit infused mead with plums that we picked off a friend. We went to our friend's house and we went in the backyard and I was like, oh my God, you have a plum tree? He's like, I have a plum tree? Because they fruit like every other year. So he had no idea that we made that meant there were so many plums on it. So
Nice.
I like having neighbors with fruit trees because they oftentimes forget to harvest or they have like way too much and they're happy to share with you.
My mother haunts the sidewalks like around fruit trees in hopes that they come over the property line. And so she'll like about once a day check and then like come and get them off the ground before they get like stomped or something.
Wow.
my neighbors have a bunch of like Asian pear trees, and once they've picked what they want, they just put up a sign that says free, and I never know what to do with them. Like you can eat them plain, but then I'm like, I want to bake something. I've never found a recipe I like for it. So if you have one in chat, please drop it out.
Oh man, it looks like people can also get like, I'm just reading about this now, can also get like methanol poisoning from fire eating, like fire spitting,
Oh.
Interesting.
Oh, that would make sense.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
It's a bad time.
So I wanted to show everybody my new desk buddy.
Oh, that's adorable.
Oh,
Is
Um,
that crocheted?
Yep, a friend of mine knitted this for me, crocheted this for me.
Great.
Craftiness
That's talented.
in the last
Yeah.
week or so, and it's pretty great. So
Does it have a name?
I have not named them.
Well, Zarcast is red, isn't he?
Well, the last red dragon that you all encountered ended up horribly murdered, or then there's the one that Artemisia is dating. So yeah,
This could be a new red dragon.
New dragon.
Yeah, new red dragon.
okay.
I like the little horns. Those are great.
I think it's little droopy ears.
Yeah.
It's
He has
cute.
little wings too. A
No.
little small right there.
Oh.
Anyway,
I was gonna ask this earlier. What is the most kind of, I was gonna say weirdest, but maybe most interesting fact that you've found in like looking up stuff for something you've been writing? Like it doesn't even have to be something you used. You were just like, huh. I will append that with that you can think of right now.
Well,
it doesn't have to be
yeah,
perfect.
I'm just like,
Yeah.
1
it's
minute
what do I
till we
wanna
gotta-
knit to?
go to break. So
True. It is actually
I can wait
6:25
this
right
out.
now. Yeah,
I found out that tin in cold climates degrades. You get something called tin pest, and it starts falling apart.
Huh.
Which was a problem in like Russia, like French uniform buttons in Napoleon's army. Just your uniform started falling off because the buttons would just kind of develop these holes and just fall apart.
Oof.
I guess, I was doing research about like, how they have corpse farms where they study like decay of the body. And they had like, there was an incident where like cats were essentially getting in and like eating the corpses. And they found out that cats prefer certain people to other people, and they actually have like a very specific palate. So they will like
fascinating
eat all the parts of like person A and then leave like all of person B that's right next to them and just skip over to the next person that they like.
Do you know
So,
what they like? Do they have a profile for that, or are they just like something about this?
I don't remember the specifics. I don't remember it wasn't memorable to me, but like I thought that was actually really interesting.
That's
so like you could make yourself more desirable to cats once you pass on if you really wanted to.
Or less desirable if you want to avoid being eaten by cats.
Yeah. I'm in camp not get eaten by cats.
If you're a cat owner, you need to know what not to eat, so your cats don't.
I mean, if
I mean,
I'm
you're dead. What does it matter?
outside, I'm figuring I'm probably eaten by coyotes.
I think it matters,
You
Randy.
could make a fantasy culture where this is their funerary practice. You get left out and eaten by cats, so you have to do the thing. You have to up your taurine content.
That is a great idea.
Why does it matter, Eric?
Anyway,
Are you planning
I
on
gotta
coming
actually
back
go
as a
on break, so.
lich or something? Or
Maybe. I just want to say we don't know very much about Ch07 funerary rites, so
Ooh, I like that. So we are 2 minutes over. We have to go to the recap. So this week we have something special. So Shay is doing like a little bit of a recap video for us. We're gonna try it out, for a couple of episodes, see how it goes. So please enjoy the first one. See you soon.
Hello, Scrawlers. Shay here, and man, did we have quite the adventure last week. The Scrawlers had returned from their trip to Myth Janor, where they had taken part in an archaeological expedition, found information that might pertain to Sturge's family history, and Artemisia got sent to horny jail for the whole time. But now, with their return to Briar House and Westgate, they have encountered an old friend, a paladin named Adrian Corvetto, also known to his friends, at least these friends, as Shiny, a name that I'm sure he loves. Now, Shiny was once a member of the Irregulars. He was a hetero life mate and conscience to our dear friend Stong, and co-father for dear little Mirabelle. I'm sure things might have turned out differently if he had been around during the whole conquering Westgate debacle. But who knows? Now, though, our heroes weren't even able to really have a fun reunion with their old friend, because who decided to crash it? The Night Masks. If you said the Night Masks, you're right. If you said anything else, I don't know what you're talking about. The Night Masks, sent by their master, wanted to kill our dear Irregulars. And, well, we just can't have that, can we? What show would we have if that happened? The Night Masks, though, weren't prepared for the presence of the rather unexpected paladin, and he helped turn the tide of the battle, a battle in which Cecilia got stabbed yet again. That's getting tiresome, I'm sure, at least for Cecilia. And the battle was, narrowly, of course, won by our heroes. Though one of the Night Masks did ask for parley. Not sure what came of that. Maybe we'll find out. And that was the quick rundown of Dungeon Scrawlers Westgate Irregulars campaign, Season 2, Episode 6, Bright Shiny Moment. I do hope you enjoy what's to come. Please stick around to the end, because you never know what you're going to miss. And, well, we'll see you next time. Stay scrawling.